thank you for your diplomacy in making sure that we all attend here. And the turnout speaks volume, speaks to the trust and confidence that we have in you, and also the desire for all of us in the African continent to have this relationship between African countries and Nordic countries strengthened, advanced. This, what you see here, is a statement of our desire. And we are very confident that it will be taken as such. And therefore, we will organize ourselves in a manner that this level of trust and confidence is maintained. Also, the attendance here and the turnout speaks volumes about our belief in the utility of these meetings. And the way this meeting is organized, the program and the content, I'm sure that if we take a vote again in this meeting today, definitely majority will want to come back to these meetings. So the topic here now is partnership in the African century. And the key word here is African century. Some would say it's African millennium, but let's take an African century. But we need to unpack what that means, African century. And this century will be defined by many, many things. But I'll pick one and speak on it, demographics, as one of the key dimensions and mega trend for this century. And a lot of my colleagues have spoken about it, but I want to recall last year, I think in October, there was a headline in the New York Times which says, bigger fonts, the world is becoming more African. That was the headline. And the article went on describing the demographic trend, which, and I'm sure all of us know, show that by the end of this century, 2 out of every 5 people will be African. But I'm not sure whether that headline was meant to scare people. The world is becoming more African, or to offer hope that what Africa offers is good for humanity. But nevertheless, that's the reality. By the end of this century, 2 out of every 5 people will be African. So the choice of the phrase that's an African century is correct by that measure alone. But numbers are okay, but what is significant, at least for some of us, is the demographic structure, in which, by which some of my colleagues mentions here. The numbers. So the median age of Africans today is 19 years old. In this country is 42. There's a very good website, the Danish statistics, that offers a very good breakdown of demographic trends. But 19. My senior brother, Minister Mudavadi, mentioned that every month you have 4 million Africans entering the job market. This, if there is to be a headline, this should be on every month. 4 million enter job market. So with those numbers, apart from climate, I believe African jobs will be the next defining challenge of our era. And African jobs actually is not an African problem. It's a challenge for all of us, given the demographic trends that we see. Early this year, we were in Italy, and we are talking about young Africans crossing the Mediterranean, coming into Europe. and the amount of investment that is being put to stop them with military boats, submarines, and everything. Still, young Africans are risking their lives to cross into Europe. Over the past 10 years, about 30,000 young Africans died in the Mediterranean trying to come into Europe, search for jobs. And it's not that they don't know the risks. They know, because their friends, their relatives have died, and they know. But they still make that journey. So jobs in Africa is a security policy for Europe, development policy, immigration policy. And if there is to be an outcome of this meeting, I think it should be a thought leadership for this century on how to integrate African jobs into our security policy, immigration policy, and development policy. It has to be integrated. If we fail to find a solution in the near term, at least we should organize ourselves to deliver advocacy at tables that we sit beyond this on the supremacy of this matter. So let me finish by saying that we think that if there is a moonshot, as we are asked to come up with, this should be one to make sure that all these young Africans that are coming to the job market every year find employment. And therefore, development of vocational education in the African continent is key. And if you look at compare the demographies of the Nordic countries, much as sometimes immigration policy drives politics here, governments come into power and lose power in Nordic countries because of where they stand on immigration. I think at some point in the future, you probably will have no option than asking for young Africans to come here, and work here. Because if you look at the numbers, the fertility rates in Nordic countries is now below replacement levels. Your population is shrinking. And African population is exploding. You cannot, in Eastern Europe, same, shrinking. You can no longer prevent young Africans coming here. You can do it in the near terms, but there will be scramble for immigrants in the future. Your best bet is to make sure that where they are educated for development of where they are, but also for them to come and serve the economies here. So this is something that we should have a discussion about. So I want to thank you again for this opportunity. And by the way, just a snapshot of Dane's demographic statistics. Average Dane surname is Nielsen, 42 years old, sees a doctor or a dentist 11 times a year, drives a Volkswagen, vacations in Spain, first child 30 years old. In Tanzania, first child is 19 years old. Here is 30. 4 out of 10 times of being divorced. And so that's an average Dane. What a difference from average African, average Tanzanian. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.